afternoon, evening, morning to all you. It's Monday, and it's the fifth day of the Ultimate Raw Vegan Bundle. We have less than a week left, and I'm excited to do another live interview. This time with Skye Conway. We're going to be going into how her healing journey helped form and shape the book that she wrote, Roar Dinners, which is a part of the bundle right now. One of 32 amazing resources, along with my raw truths, available for just $50. It's like $1,390 worth of stuff, but only $50 and only until midnight on the 11th. So I'm excited to invite Skye in and go into her journey and the inspiration of her book and some of the lessons and tips and tricks that she's learned along the way. Welcome to this to the live here. Oh, I see Skye joined here, so I'm going to invite her in. Time for them at the end, or if they fit in as they pop up. This should be a really fun live. My last of the day, and I think her first of the day. Good morning, Skye.
Good evening, Chris. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm just coming out of sleepy land,
Yeah.
but I'm good.
You look ready for the day already. I am slowly getting towards Sleepyland, so excuse me if I start doing some funny words and things and stuff. No, I'll be sharp. I got this.
That's all right. We're doing the trade, right? I'm coming on shift and you're going off shift. We're just crossing paths.
That's how it is when we're across the world. But geez Louise, how much of a blessing is it to be able to connect like this across the world, live in real time, and share our conversation with everyone? It's amazing.
It is. It is such a blessing. I feel so grateful for like this part of my life, like as you go along the raw journey, because there's so many beautiful souls all over the world that we get to connect with.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the family's growing all the time, right?
That's
And we're
right.
all evolving, and I love it. I love it. I feel so blessed to be in this day and time as well. Some people look at it with fear and think that, the world's gone completely nuts, and, a lot of it's perspective, and we have lots of opportunity right now.
I agree with you, and I notice that if I can get up and see a rose amongst all the thorns and the greens every day in every view I take, whether it's, when you first get up and look in the mirror to when you walk outside and you take your bin out, and I appreciate bin trash. I appreciate the day. Because if I don't, is you start looking at everything from a negative lens and then your life slowly. So I think we have to look at this as positive.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much going on in the world, and I don't think the human brain is designed to take in all the information of the entire world all at once. And sometimes it's just like, hey, what's here right now? I'm with Skye, and my little snoo cat is here saying hello, and she wants
I
to
was
say
about
hello.
to say it wouldn't be alive without cats. Hello.
Look at her little fuzzy belly.
She looks a little sleepy too.
Yeah, she really does. She is so funny. I think we just woke her up. I went out for a quick walk and visited a friend real quick, and she just kind of was like, "What's going on here?"
Oh, well, it's nice you
But let's talk.
joined us.
Do you have any animals around you?
No, so because when I was sick, I lived with mum and mum and dad have a dog called Snowflake, who was like in my bed with me all the time when I was sick. So
Yeah.
I see her a lot. But at this stage, when I first got well, I wanted to focus on just
Mhm.
me. And now I have a very small apartment. So
Mhm.
I don't know whether I want anything in
Yeah.
this yet, but
Yeah.
eventually I'd love to have something in my life.
Yeah.
Maybe even a fish.
Yeah.
Maybe I get a fish.
Fish are fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, and fully understandable. I've been a transient soul for a lot of my life, and also just like, staying with people in smaller places, and it was not the right time, but finally now.
Yeah, you look like you're made for animals. Every time, like you just interact with animals very well.
Love animals. They are my meditation, and they melt my heart and my soul every single time I'm around them. It's like, yeah, it's the best. They're the best. But
Oh,
they're one thing that sometimes keeps me sane in an insane world is just, grounding in with animals and enjoying that and the moment, and other things, of course. But yeah, they're a blessing for sure. But I want to get into you and your amazing story of transformation and your amazing book that is a part of the bundle.
sure.
Um, our topic today is how your journey has helped you create or led to you creating your book, Roar Dinners,
Yep.
right? So where would you like to start?
So, I'm not sure if everyone's heard my journey. I'll do like a small overview because it's quite long. But I was sick for 32 years.
Right.
I've had over 60 surgeries. I've had 7 major organs removed. I've had massive psychiatric problems. Basically, I was vegan, and I'd just come out of a acute psychiatric stay when I started drinking to try and cope with all I'd been through. I had FND, so I could barely still walk and talk at this stage.
Yeah.
And my parents said, I can't care for you anymore while you're drinking. So I actually lived on the street, lived in hotels, and then got my own place. And at this point, I'm so sick. I'm ordering vegan food. It's COVID,
Mm.
and just eating the carrots and celery.
Yeah.
And at that point, I started to notice like one day I could just get up and hang my washing out. Now, I had like a little funny thing near a heater, just hang clothes. I'm like outside hanging the washing out, and I'm like, wow, like what's going on? I've got some energy. I said, I'll make some dry roasted pumpkin and tomato. And then when I ate that, I just couldn't get up. I had heart palpitations. I had dizziness, all my symptoms were there. It would
Right.
take 4 days to get over that, and I just keep munching on anything I felt like,
Yeah.
but just not cook it. And then I would try cooked food again, the same thing would happen. So I'd worked out somehow that these raw foods in their raw form were for me. And I
Yeah.
couldn't read properly because I'd had this functional neurological disorder where it's like a stroke,
Mhm.
um, and it displays like a stroke. So I couldn't read, and I went on Instagram and saw people like yourself and like Lissa with these
Mhm.
big like bowls of
Mhm.
food and colors and stuff. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh, there's people who are vegan to eat raw. I can do this. Like that was enough for me. So I could follow pictures. So that was really helpful.
Mhm.
But within 6 weeks, most of my symptoms had gone.
Wow.
Like I could walk down the street without heart palpitations. Was off all my medications, wasn't drinking. I'd stopped smoking. I was able to talk to people again. When you have FND and psychiatric issues, you could barely talk to people.
Mhm.
My mental health was
Mhm.
amazing. Like
Mhm.
just one of those things. If you have mental health issues, raw foods really like cleared. Like I would say I was normal within 6 weeks. Of course, I had massive trauma, but
Mhm.
there was no like dissociation. And then over time, my memories come back. I lost a lot of my memory back when I first dissociated. So
Wow.
I've gone along this journey, and how I started. This is really important for, I guess, for my healing journey was I realized that in the past is, I was like, someone might hand me the magic pill,
Yeah.
have this Atkins diet or have this low carb diet. This is going to fix you. And I would go and buy the books and buy all this and buy all that, and then be like, oh, I'm on this diet last 2 weeks, and it wouldn't last any longer. And I knew I had to stay. There was no the difference between being on raw and being cooked was just so dramatic.
Mhm.
So I knew I had to just travel along this journey very slowly. So I had a chopping board. All I had in this little apartment of mine was a chopping board, a knife, and a vegetable peeler.
Mhm.
And all I did was order my favorite flavors. So
Nice.
we were going into spring. In Australia,
Yeah.
we're very blessed with mangoes and limes and chilies. And I loved greens, and I made noodles. You could buy even from the supermarket pre-made zoodle noodles.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would buy those at the start. Or I'd make ribbons. And I had a lot of fun in my bowl. Like
Mhm.
I'd eat like just fruit, a few nuts, veggies during the day, but in the afternoon, my whole day revolved around the flavors I'd put into this bowl.
Yeah.
And I really feel like my chef journey started there because when and I spent, because I'm now well out of bed, I'm out in nature all day. And you would
Yeah.
know raw foods in nature. Nature's singing at you,
Yeah.
recipes and feelings and tastes it's all amazing. And spring, so it's singing even really loud. And these bowls that I made every day had these like different flavor like profiles going on. And I feel like because my brain had always been like, okay, I'm in pain, now I've got this is going on, this is like, that was all it had
Yeah.
full. And now you take all that away, and I'm excited about flavors. So you've got an empty brain, and it's kind of just embracing nature and these flavors. And it just started, and that's how I started making recipes. It kind of filled my day. It made me happy, and I led into making like favorites.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
first ebook, and then
Yeah.
classics, my next ebook. But then along my journey, I met Leanne, who we used to meet up once a week and do dinner club, where we'd meet up online and create recipes that were raw at
Yes.
night.
Yeah.
And this is where all those recipes in dinners came from.
Yeah.
So it was like this evolution where I love it because like you can turn your trauma into like a beautiful recipe, right?
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I mean, I think that's one of the most powerful things to do is turn any situation that is really challenging into a blessing, right? Something that can help transform you and bring light to your life. And that sounds like it's exactly what you did.
Yeah, and I bring this up so much. Ed Sheeran, the singer,
Yeah,
says
yeah,
he never learned anything winning a Grammy. He learned
yeah,
it. Everything he's learned is when a business partner leaves,
yeah,
or when he had a lisp as a child and he had to learn. He picked up music to get over his lisp, and then he became Ed Sheeran, a singer. And so it reminds me that all my strength comes from my dark. Like if you can overcome your darkest hour, then you can make a salad in a bowl every afternoon, and then you can make it fun. You can bring in every flavor I remembered as a kid, like avocados and mangoes and chilies and limes, and you just put it in and you learn. But if you understand that, and if you think back to any skill you have, it's been when you've pushed through or you've been through a hard time
yeah.
that you gain that skill, right?
Yeah, 100%. I can definitely say that rings true. And it teaches you perseverance and patience and gratitude in spades, right?
It does definitely teach you gratitude, and the universe loves gratitude. If you can look at everything with that gratitude, it just wants to send you more.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's just so inspiring having been through all the things you've went through and to come to that place, when people are in that pit, because I mean, I know I've been there. I'm guessing you've been there for sure, where you don't think there's an end in sight, where you could almost
True.
swear this is how it is, like this is how it's going to be forever. And it's almost impossible to get out of there at those times. Do you have any insights, advice, thoughts that might help somebody who's in that kind of a place?
So I have been through some pretty dark times. Like I spoke in another live, it's hard to explain to people. So I lost my stomach.
Mhm.
Okay, so my stomach's been removed, my duodenum, and this is massive traumatic surgery.
Yeah.
There must have been, I think, like 30 blood transfusions, ICU. That still sat in the realm of what I would call normal reality for
Mhm.
me. Like, of course, it was very traumatizing, but when you go to a place that you've never seen in a movie, you've never heard in a book, you did not know exists mentally,
Yeah.
and you're in psychiatric units, and the whole world doesn't make sense, and you don't even know yourself anymore, is I assume at those points my body and brain was processing things that just could not be comprehensible because of what I'd been through.
Yeah.
But the words I have to say are hang on
Yeah.
because there is light.
Yeah.
And look, I truly believe a miracle can happen if you give someone with a psychiatric problem. I'm not saying it can fix everybody, but I'm saying you will get very far and you'll feel much better with raw foods. But even people that I've seen come out the other side who didn't have raw foods, right? There is hang on.
Yeah.
Is my greatest tip is hang on. We have to go through it. It's like imagine somebody, I guess, losing a child, and that's such a horrible thing to say, but
Yeah.
you have to go through the grief. And I guess when I think of like some nights, all I could do is literally clench the bed um, or the pillows, and sometimes I didn't sleep for like 2 weeks. I'd black out, come to. So you've got no like escape from it. But I promise you, like even like the things I've been through in that period of time, there's what I didn't think I'd come out, but hang on. Like I feel like sometimes that hanging on, and then we realize as well when I've come out of that is I can do anything.
Yeah.
Like, you come out of that and you go, I like because truly losing my stomach is a walk in the park compared to losing yourself and thinking you've lost every single thing and you're not thinking. So it's like it's a really hard place to sit in, but it's a beautiful story to come out the other side.
Absolutely. Yeah, the dark night of the soul leads you to the heights of heaven, right? It's yeah.
That's
It
all I
sounds
can.
Sorry.
That's so I remember like watching videos when I was unwell on the Dark Night of the Soul, and
Yeah.
people all said like it's unimaginable, you can't understand what it feels like, and I was like, I've been through so much, how bad could this be?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared yet to go through it. But yes, when you lose everything, it's like a refresh almost, like
Mhm.
you have to break. If I was to explain it to anybody what it's like the whole fabric of reality that you think is reality has really just been constructed from like
Mhm.
televisions and teachers, and what you perceive as important, it just snaps because it wasn't real.
Yeah.
And there's like foundations that are there that you like, it's almost like a piano, like that starts to rise, like like you press the keys and the keys start to rise again.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah. It is so challenging when it is that tough, but like you said, yeah, it's just keep on hanging on. And I mean, once you get to that point, you're like, I survived this. What else can the world throw at me? It's like, what else can I grow with?
That's right, but I will also say the other tip I have is the one thing that stood out to me through the whole thing is couldn't connect to people, but even before the raw foods, I always had nature.
Yeah.
So even in a psychiatric unit, you can look out the window and there's the sun and the moon. They have like a little courtyard, but then as soon as I was allowed out, you get like time to go outside. Is in Australia we have beautiful like wildflowers out the front of the hospital, and it was like for many years, even recently, I feel now I'm in a space where I can connect very well to people again. But I wasn't very, once I got on the raw foods, I wasn't aware that something was missing in me. I felt very whole.
Yeah.
But Nate, if you are going through something, just talk to plants, talk to nature, get grounded, because
Mhm.
in truth, that's the only thing that I could do.
Yeah.
Couldn't feel anything else. So that's a tip
Yeah.
there.
Nature, so powerful, right? And I mean, food is nature, so it is one way to connect, but actually being immersed in it and your feet in the ground or in the water, like spending time with animals and trees and everything like that is just, yeah. Do you have a favorite place to be? Like, do you have do you like forest or ocean, or what's your happy place? Ocean?
Ocean,
Yeah.
ocean, ocean, ocean. I love the ocean.
Yeah.
Like I just love the ocean. I love the salt feeling. Sometimes at night, if I start to feel a little ungrounded indoors,
Mhm.
I will just grab salt crystals, salt rocks, and just hold them for a little bit.
Yeah.
I really love like it's like holding the ocean in my hand. But there's nothing that replaces being outdoors. But
No,
I
no, I
wonder
can't.
if think it was like, I would be like, oh no, it's a forest if I'd grown up surrounded by beautiful forests. Like I've been around beaches my whole life. So
Mhm.
for me, it's beaches. What is it for you, Chris? What's your favorite place in nature?
I think it might be the beach and ocean too, but especially like when I'm out on a surfboard in the water, looking back on the beach and the whole beach line, and like
Oh,
that's been some of the most like heart-opening experiences I've ever had in my life. And then all of a sudden you drop in on a wave and it's like everything, and then you calm down and you look back and it's just like, oh, sunset, sunrises. But I mean, also, I mean, I love mountains and like huge mountains and crystal clear cold lakes and mountains and even sand dunes. I haven't been around sand dunes too much, but they do intrigue me, like desert sand dunes. Like, nature is just so abundant, so varied, and so beautiful, right?
it truly is. Like when I got well, as I said, it was spring and I'd been in bed for so
Yeah.
long, and I'd been like, there'd been medications and alcohol. So I'm now just on very light raw foods. And
Mhm.
I walk outside and it's like cause it's spring, the
Mhm.
whole universe is just like, it's like I'd never seen it. It's
Yeah.
like I'd been walking around in another world my whole life. And the one thing that stood out about nature, which was just so mesmerizing, I could have walked for ages. I was just like, but is that it's like that beautiful geometry that it holds that you see everywhere
Mhm.
is like that sacred geometries in what blooming flowers, and then it's the way the sun hits the surface of the ocean, the way the waves move. It was like I was in Wonderland.
Mhm.
But another something I wanted to mention is when I went to Hawaii, I swam with dolphins in the ocean, and
Magic.
I got in the water. And when I first saw them, I just started crying, got all these emotions. I'm like, how did I get from where I was, guys? Like, in this dark night of the soul, like thinking I'm not going to get through this, to being in Hawaii with dolphins in the ocean. I'm still getting chills. My everything was just bursting. That was
Yeah.
magical.
I remember actually seeing that on your posts and when you were out there and seeing how happy you were and it really strikes a
Yeah,
chord with me too because Hawaii is the only place on earth I've been where as soon as I landed, my heart opened and I'm like, you're home. Like it just felt like I'm home.
that's what
Like
it says, right? I'm
yeah,
home.
you're home. And on one of the beaches on was it I think Big Island. I was with my parents and I saw some dolphins like quite far out and I was like, I'm just gonna go for a swim and I swam out to them and it was like probably almost a kilometer out. Like I swam for about like 15, 20 minutes to get to the dolphins. And my parents
Yeah.
were freaking out. But I made it out to them and got to swim with them, same kind of thing. And then I swam back. And my
Oh,
parents, like, they still tell the story, like, we thought you were like gonna go die because we didn't know if they're sharks or what. And I'm like, I knew they were dolphins, they're the way they were swimming.
oh.
But dolphins are so magic. Like
They
and
are.
Hawaii is just magic. And I mean the world is freaking magic.
It is. But you're right. When I landed on Hawaii, the first thought that came to my head is I've come home. And
Oh
so
yeah.
many people say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Isn't it supposed to be like there's ancient history stories where some believe that's where it all started? Like that could have been, what islands were it? Is it
It would
Sumer?
It wouldn't be Hawaii because Hawaii is actually the youngest islands on the planet. They're the
Right.
last formed
Okay.
islands on the planet. There's a really cool book. It's funny. I want to say Tom Clancy, but I know it's not Tom Clancy. But it's this person who wrote Hawaii, which goes into the whole history, starting from little bubbles under the ocean, and then the volcanoes arising, and then the whole process of Hawaii Islands forming, like from a historical standpoint, but also with a story interwoven. And they also wrote the samurai book, Shogun, which is amazing too. Both of those books amazing. But that Hawaii book, if you connect with Hawaii, definitely check out that book.
I will have to check out that book. That sounds amazing. But on to speaking of dolphins still, so I had been well with raw foods for about what just over a year.
Mhm.
And once I got to 8 months, I started swimming in the ocean. So I swam in the ocean through winter the first time, like the first season of winter that I was raw.
Mhm.
And if you've ever swum in the ocean in winter, it's very different because you don't have those winds and all the ocean isn't churned. It's like looking at glass. It's magic. Anyway, it was something I wanted to do for myself. I woke up on my birthday and I
Mhm.
went down to do my normal swim, and there was a massive pod of dolphins.
Oh man.
And I'm like, the universe has sent me dolphins for my birthday. And I went in and we can't go and swim with them on our beach.
Mhm.
We have to stay, I think, 5 or 10 meters away from them, maybe
Yeah.
more. But by the time I got out there, they were far away. I didn't get to like be that close to them. But to wake up on your birthday after like the first year being raw is pretty magical, but still you want it, like you're working very hard, right?
Yeah.
And to get a gift like that, I was like, and they'd never come back. We've never had, it was like a big massive pod.
Yeah.
Like we get random dolphins, but not a massive pod like right in the beach area. And I was like, I got dolphins for my birthday from the
The
universe.
universe's gifts just astound us, and it actually kind of makes me think of one thing. Like it sounds to me like a lot of your journey has been led by intuition, and I've noticed with so many people that their intuition and synchronicities just start to pop when they get into raw food. Um, do you agree? And do you have a couple other stories that maybe highlight that experience?
Oh my gosh, I feel like my whole life once I got on raw foods was
Yeah,
like I am the universe is just talking to me. I don't know whether there's any actual specific, like literally will walk down the beach singing,
yeah,
and
yeah,
if thoughts come to my head, the songs will start saying the words in, like
yeah,
people might be rapping or they're saying the words that I'm thinking. Like I might think of something, like I'll say in my head the word suitcase,
yeah,
or I might see, and the word case will come in the song at the exact same time I think it,
yeah,
or a butterfly will come and the word butterfly comes in. It's it's very intense for me.
yeah,
All the time. So it's like my normal reality.
yeah.
Like I am like I if you give me to go from to it's actually mind blowing to go from somebody who like growing up I went to a private school. I was very like when you grow up and you're going to travel the world and look, my goals are completely different. Like
Yeah.
things that would excite me before would be like I get like a fancy handbag or something. What the universe gives me every day, even if you just put me on a rock, is
Yeah.
beyond. Like was doing support work when I first went raw, and as soon as I had like my little break, you could find a little lot of grass, and I would be like, oh, Mum's like, you're like Snow White. You're just
Yeah.
singing around with flowers and animals. My whole life feels like that now. I
Yeah.
wish I could give um, examples. Do you have any examples?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned about the songs and stuff because I could say a bunch, but the one that jumps right now is just so often, especially since going raw, I find, especially when I'm in like one of those kind of time slowed down, surreal situations where, when like life just seems like you're just so honed in on the moment. There's nothing outside. You're just really in the
Yep.
moment and something big is happening, like where little shifts could change the trajectory of what's happening right there,
Yep.
that in those moments, so often music comes on that narrates exactly what's happening or the mood or the unsaid things.
It does. It like fills in the gaps, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Is like it just helps you. It's like the overlay of the like the raw foods, the music, and the
yeah,
nature. It's. I know what you're saying. It's hard to explain because
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
not like one line where you're like, oh my God,
No,
I
no.
said the word this and this. It's like a constantly. I can literally like look at the world and the song just starts like
Yeah,
narrating exactly what's going on. It's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. What's going on, or sometimes what you're not saying, but is good for you to say, or
True.
like yeah, it's just like almost like an encouragement from the universe, like, hey, you're here right now. This is a powerful moment. Like, hey, it's like it's happened so many times. And then other ones that I think are just magical too is I've really noticed nature, animals, kids especially, like totally change their energy around you, especially when you're in that space. Because, like being on the journey for a while, there could be times where you weave a little bit, or at least for me, where I weave a little bit in and out of that heightened state of connectivity, and sometimes get back in my head and then other times get back into the flow of intuition and gratitude. It's a unfortunately not a constant state all the time for me, but during those times, especially when you're just feeling that deeper sense of connection and like really true measured with source, kids and animals just like light up and I get so excited and want to eat what you're eating, and the parents are like, they never like fruit, but when you're around, all they want to do is eat fruit and like play with you and
Yes,
talk to you.
yes, my nieces are exactly like that. Have you got a celery for me? Have you got those chocolate balls that you make? Have you got cucumbers? Have you got watermelon? What about the banana? Um, the nice cream that you make? It's like,
Yeah.
and then they come home for the couple days after, and like, Mum, take me to the vegetable shop. Like,
Yeah.
that's really beautiful. But it's nice to hear because I feel like I'm going through a stage now where I'm more grounded.
Yeah.
I really feel like when I was like getting well and I was eating like very, very clean and outdoors all the time, is I'm like literally floating around with nature
Yeah.
and God
Like a
and
Disney character.
but I yes,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
need I like I feel well and good, but I feel more grounded at the moment that my body needs like to be. It's because a lot of my memories have come back that I'm able to connect with people more when I'm like up on fruits and it's summer and like I'm outdoors all day. Like things can happen and I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Like I'm there, but I'm like unfazed because
Yeah.
I'm so like I guess connected to the universe. And I really appreciate this time now. But it's nice to hear that you go through different
Yeah.
phases, like as in like different, which I imagined I would. Like, once summer comes again, there's probably this period where I'm like off to the beach and I'm not doing it as much as this. Excuse me. But yeah, it's nice that we get the choice to do those different
Absolutely.
levels of like what I call consciousness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it is an amazing dance, and all of the sections can have their own pluses and lessons. And like we said before, it's in those times that sometimes are not really what we think we want all the time, bring us right back to where we grow the most anyway.
That's true. And raw foods don't really let us hide.
No.
Like, so it's like you're saying like the song's kind of saying what we're not saying, or, our nature kind of pushes us along. You can't hide. You're now on this journey. And back to kind of when I was saying on my journey that I did go through that like horrible like mental health or dark night of the soul. That's all part of it. Like that you have to go through it like you go through this. And in my interpretation of it, it's the start of the awakening. You
Yeah.
can't have an awakening without like literally losing everything you ever thought was reality, which is
Yeah.
not pleasant for many people. And that can come in different forms for different people.
Hmm.
But I believe it starts with like, or it starts or ends with like the biggest trauma that you've ever experienced. And then you kind of come through that, and you're now on the journey.
Hmm.
And that's why people are like, have you gone back? And it's like, well, you can't really. I can't really. Like, I mean, once you go through, you go on, you're on this journey.
Yeah, yeah. Without having a full brain wipe, it's like once your eyes are open, once your eyes and heart
Yeah,
are open, it's really hard to go back. And
that's a
it
good way to say it.
it really makes me think of even the Matrix, where like when they woke up to
Yes.
the reality, the one guy, I can't remember his name, but he was given the opportunity to go back, but they basically had to like wipe his mind to be able to go back into the fake Matrix reality. But
The
uh,
100% like that. Even the way you perceive things, like instead of seeing like signs that say yum pizza with the cheese dripping off, all of a sudden you go, oh my God, like, it's literally showing me the disease I'm about to get. Like you see, you can't describe what your experience will be, but you see truth in everything. You can't not see truth anymore, right?
100%. No, it's 100%. It's so wild what this lifestyle can open your eyes and your extrasensory perception to. It can create
Yeah.
massive, massive shifts, and it just seems so universal. And I liked how earlier too you said like your cup was so empty, and it sounds like exactly like your cup became so empty to become so dang full with life and new things.
It did, and like it's like literally, my passion comes from my darkest
Yeah.
hour. If you can experience that, the driving force to say you can feel this good, like if you can feel this good from like you might have like a few problems, and you do this, and there'll definitely be a jump, but the person might just go on with their life. But when you felt that horrific
Mhm.
and you just couldn't move and you can't talk for days
Yeah.
and not sleeping, and then all of a sudden always diseases and hospitals, and all of a sudden nothing, but not just nothing, you've now in absolute paradise.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing, like in my mind, I think all those years I was sick, I wanted no pain. Like there was
Yeah.
a goal was to have no surgeries and no pain, and just get through my day and probably be on disabilities, and but not be in pain, but then to be given a whole life,
Yeah.
like it's unimaginable. My brain was just like,
Yeah. Yeah. And I gotta ask, with the massive transformation you've had, how have friends and family reacted, and have many changed their lifestyles from it? Just curious.
sure. So as soon as I ate raw, people thought I looked like a completely different person. Everyone
Yeah.
was so happy for
Mhm.
me. There was no even does this work. It was like the girl's up and functioning.
Yeah.
So it was like an absolutely beautiful, positive experience. My best friend here, she has gone high raw.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
she watched, I had like a raw party after being raw for a year, and she was really inspired by like, you can do it, you can change your life. And she's like, I can do it. So, and her life completely changed. But then also there's aspects to it where like my best friend's
Mhm.
Jillian, and she's on the other side of the world, but then I travel with her, like places like Hawaii. And so my heart's um, open there with people who are raw.
Yeah.
But as for around me, the biggest heartwarming thing is my nieces. They do not eat raw, of course, but
Mhm.
it warms my heart that they know what it is,
Yeah.
and that around me they're excited about. If they ever get sick or unwell, they've seen the transformation, and to know that they have the knowledge of that gift,
Mhm.
that makes me very happy as
Yeah.
well.
That's beautiful. Having those seeds planted and they've seen that transformation, so they know what to do if something happens,
That's
and they know who to go to.
Yeah, that's exact. That's all I want to bestow. I don't. expect I when I got well, I was never angry at like doctors or the universe. The only thing I did have a regret on was like, or like wish I knew more on, was when you're at school growing up, is that, we had this happy, healthy Harold that would come to the school and talk about exercise and food, and that in that course or in school they kind of mention that there is raw foods, not that you have to eat it, but that there's an extra benefit if the seed had been planted. That was one thing that really icked me.
Mm.
That was the only thing that icked me, that there was never mention ever along the way that if you eat it raw, you'll get like you'll do better.
Mm.
So when you're having your cooked carrots at night, have a couple of raw, like planting the seed early. So to have my nieces know that, that's like the greatest gift.
Yeah, no, I can 100% relate, and I was wondering that because so often, people can see massive change around us, but like we said, until you have that own dark night of your soul or, a major thing happening, sometimes people just, oh, I'm happy with my, the float that I'm on right now, right? But it's a blessing to see when people do take that initiative from others' experience rather than needing to go that deep themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Or even like um that if I think back now to these dark times, they are my still, and I hope it comes across in this interview that they are my greatest gift.
Yeah.
Like everything that I've been through, dark, especially that dark night of the soul part. And as I've said, like the physical stuff for me when I was like before this was not, it's not even on the same page. That darkness, if you can be your best friend in that darkest hour, imagine what your being your best friend is like in your lightest hour. You can skip down to the ocean every day.
Yeah.
But the other thing I would say is if you're going through it, and I think I said it before, like to get out in nature, but take your shoes off, go to the
Mm.
beach,
Yeah.
get some fruit, get your favorite
Yeah.
salad, if you start there, you really can't go wrong. Something, and
No.
I bring this up with clients a lot and talks a lot. You said if everything around you is like not working and dark, but you put the light in, like the food, the
Yeah.
physical food,
Yeah.
something has to shift. And that's what happened, I think, with me
Yeah.
is that I think there was like I had this connection to nature, but I knew that something was going on food wise. And when everything is going to shit, because you can't, it's very hard to retrain your
Mm.
brain when you're having only dark thoughts. It just keeps running off. But if you keep putting the light in,
Mhm.
you're going to get somewhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. It can't help but create inner transformation, just pouring that love of nature and light right into your body, right? It is as close to magic. It is magic, It's,
It
I
is
was gonna say
magic.
as close to magic as it could be, but it is magic.
It is. They're like little keys. I think of like if someone, I actually thought about this the other day. If somebody said, "What's the secret to the universe?" My brain just made a banana key.
Yeah.
Like that, like the secret is the fruit. Like
Yeah.
it's literally that simple. And it's probably in a lot of artwork from throughout history. Well, it is. People love fruit in pictures. It's not like they put a steak in a picture. They put fruit bowls and ladies holding fruit.
See my It's a monkey holding
Yeah,
bananas, and his glasses say
yeah.
bananas forever across the banana
Oh,
across the
that's so
glass.
cute. See, it's right there. The key to the universe is right. It's right in artwork everywhere. It's
Yeah,
been
it
left
is so
there.
true. It is so true. So we were talking about intuition earlier, and I'm curious, how has your dietary kind of approach changed? Is intuition a big part of that? And
Oh, that's a good question.
yeah,
That's a really good question because intuition for me is everything.
yeah,
I would not be able to stay raw if somebody had handed me a book and I had to always kind of stick to it.
yeah,
Like there's literally some days that I'm only still raw now because maybe I had avocados all day.
yeah,
I mean, I'll have avocados for a week, but it's very like my body is very
yeah,
specific.
yeah,
And if I try going, oh no, I need to balance today out, it doesn't work for me
mm,
at all. And the more I use my intuition, the more confidence I get in
yeah,
myself, and the better I am as a raw foodist, looking after myself and my health.
yeah,
So I think intuition is everything on this lifestyle. I think take in all the knowledge you want, but only take with what resonates you
Yeah.
at a certain time. If it's not working, keep shifting through, because it's like saying, like I could have said at the start of this year, I was having a few blood sugar issues, all sorted now.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave my body a bit of a break from sugar. And when I started eating it again, I didn't have so much of a reaction. I was having histamine responses, blood sugar
Yeah.
issues. And because I listened to my body and went through just a couple months of doing like lower carb fruits,
Mm-hmm.
I I could have thrown the baby out with the bathwater, as we say here. Whereas I'm like, no, raw foods don't work for me.
Yeah.
But it was not that. It was just if I listened to my, and I wanted things like berries
Yeah.
for that period of time, a lot of berries and greens, and that helped me. And now I can have sweeter fruits throughout the day. It's slowly coming back online.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you just have to do that because in nature, some animals animals don't have like a lot of salt, right? But then you might see an animal walk up and start licking like salt off a wall because it needs it. We are those animals, like randomly, I want avocados for a
Mm-hmm.
day. I feel like, and I get this confidence in myself and my body, and it's like even when you're making something like my recipe from this bundle, if you're like, I want to add a little more chili or I like mine a little sweeter,
Yeah.
is I'm for that. You do that. You
Yeah.
make it how you want to make it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's again, it comes to being play and having fun and making it your own. I see things as guidelines. Recipes are guidelines to me more than strict sets.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to someone yesterday, and they're like, in America, they were saying American recipes. I think they were referring to raw, very sweet versus European recipes, or maybe in general, all recipes. And I said, well, if you get someone who puts into a recipe, like you say, we're talking about raw foods here. So I say, put in a mango and tomatoes.
Mhm.
Now, my mangoes might be tartar here. My
Mhm.
tomatoes might be saltier here. So
Yeah.
you've put sweet tomatoes in and a really sweet mango, and you're like, whoa, you have to really then go, okay, I want to put more celery to balance it out, or whatever it is, salty. You have to not go, because otherwise there are going to be variations on that
Yeah.
level with
And what a gift too, right? Because you can have the same recipe and make it, 100 times across a couple different countries at different times of the year, and every time it'll be different. It's not
that's
like
right.
McDonald's, the
I
exact same
love
cookie
that.
cutter every time.
That's right. And that's part of that breaking away from the matrix. Like when you think about the flavors you used to want, they're like cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Like you want ketchup, tomato sauce, it's exactly the same every single time. And then when you come here, everything's so flowy and floaty. And some days you want a little more salty, some days you want it a bit more sweeter, a bit more
Yeah.
spice. And I light up.
Yeah.
That
Me too.
lights me up.
I kind of think, I never thought about it this way, but I kind of think that having things the same all the time is kind of numbing in a way, and having that variance like opens you to minutia and to, the more wider spectrum that life is instead of just, you don't look into nature and find the exact same thing over and over and over, right? But it numbs you in some strange way.
I look at it like we are, when you eat and are so disconnected from nature, you're so
Mhm.
miserable. Your only escape is the safety of
Food.
you, the same ramen bowl.
Yeah.
Like you can trust in the ramen bowl. Like that flavor. Everything is just so crap. But when everything becomes so good and every experience is like this new like vibrational experience and happiness, you're excited to try it, right? You're
Yeah.
excited for your new day, and you're excited for a new smoothie like flavor, and yeah.
I don't know who said it, but it is just so dang true to me that like most people eat to live, and when you come into raw food, you live to, or sorry, most people live to eat, but when you
Yeah,
come into raw food, eat to live, like
I
it
know.
just,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. And I think there's like truth to that because when I travel, like I'm like, where can I go? What can I experience? And I'm like, oh, can you imagine trying like this fruit? Whereas everyone's very set on like places and restaurants, everything's very set based on like food when they travel. And when you take that away, once again, it's very
Yeah,
freeing. Like
yeah,
I felt when I was sick all those years, and I'm a Leo like you, so
yeah,
we hate being controlled. Is everything was yeah, excessively controlled, like because what medication, what time, Skye, you need more protein, you need more food. The doctor said this, you need to get another test. And when you get on raw foods,
mm,
you free
yeah,
yourself of all of that. And that for me was very healing because
Yeah.
everyone walking around out there is very
Yeah.
controlled. And raw foods, like, and friends when I first got well are like, the world could collapse and Skye'd survive. Like Skye would find, like, she'd just eat berries off a tree or something and it wouldn't like phase her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when you get to that level where you can just be on a beach and eat fruit and
Yeah.
you're so content,
Yeah.
it's like the freeing. And so a lot of the decisions I think come from fear, right?
Oh,
Is
huge.
everyone's so controlled by
Yeah.
fear.
Yeah. Huge. And it is kind of funny because I've often heard or had people tell me, like, you're obsessed about food. But then when you think about exactly what you said, like, most people travel and all they do is go from restaurant to restaurant and think about food, and that's like their main thing. And yeah, I mean, I like to travel for fruit destinations, skateboard destinations, surf
Yep.
destinations, but I'm generally eating those foods so that I can do the other activities, and it's like everyone's obsessed
Yes.
with food because it's a constant. It's just, are you obsessed about healthy foods that help you live, or are you obsessed about heavy foods that make you rest in between those meals, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that if you have like that obsession or that addiction is if you start putting like good foods in,
Mhm.
at least good things are going to start coming out. Like even if you
Yeah.
end up addicted to bananas, eventually you I feel like on this journey you can't stay mate, that might be to do with the food being so fluid. Like it
Mm.
literally is like a download as opposed to like something dead.
Yeah.
Is you will work through it,
Yeah.
but it's better. I think I read that in Doug Graham's book 80-10-10, where he's like, well, it's better to get like a big bowl of like fruit or veggies than it is to go keep eating what you're eating, which is not serving you.
Yeah.
We've all got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I actually
Absolutely. I love.
mentioned that a huge key to the success of this and finding yourself in the fluidity is that the food is constantly different. It's not that dead set, eat, repeat type.
Mhm. Yeah. And if you can have that perspective, like the excitement of like, oh, what's this going to be like it comes back to that being in the moment and gratitude for what is rather than thinking it should be something or you wanting it to always be the same thing,
Yeah,
being
yeah,
open.
and I think that's where my ebook came from, and anything I've created since being on this journey, it's literally the universe which I'm part of
Hmm.
speaking through.
Hmm.
Like I can't do anything now that doesn't align with me. Like everything you see come from me is true passion. Like,
Yeah.
okay, sometimes I get a little bit sick of editing my ebooks, but the creating of it, putting it together part, I love. I love doing like talks like this. I love coaching people. If something doesn't sit with me,
Mhm.
somehow my body will find a way to move it through. And I love that
Well,
about this journey. You live in your truth, right?
1000%. And the harder you push against it, then the harder it hits you back. I can even say
It does
a
that
very,
too.
very brief story about that because I've been doing this for quite a long time. It's been
Yeah.
16 years full time. And there was a point where I'd done like 8 years of retreats and festivals, and I was like, for a few years I said, I'd like to just take a summer off. Like I could just take a break and just like, the festivals are over my birthday, being a summer baby. And I was
Yep.
like, I just really just want a break, but I was afraid to because I thought that people wouldn't want to invite me back, like if I missed or something like that. And what happened? I got hit by a truck and I was forced to take a break, and when it happened, I was like, I'm gonna soak this up at all, like tons, like just like you said. I wasn't angry. I wasn't like, like in like, why did this happen? I like in my mind, I kind of thought like, wow, that's kind of crazy. Like the universe forced me to take a break. I'm gonna soak it up as much as I can and watch all the Star Trek and then I made a course too and still stayed busy, but I took a break from travel, which at one point in my life I would have never ever thought I'd want a break from that. But as the wheel turns, you never know where you end up sometimes.
That's right. I'm so sorry you got hit by a truck, but it reminds me, I just broke my toe. I'm just at the end of it now,
Mhm.
and I could feel my body needing a
Yeah.
break. So since I
Yeah.
got well, I never stop exercising. I like every day, and it helps me another thing. It helps me process my emotions. It gets me outdoors because I built up to it, but I do about an hour and a half most days. Like I'll get up and go for a long walk or
Yeah.
run, and then I'll do
Yeah.
Pilates, and I love that for me. But this break taught me that if you keep climbing and don't turn around and look how far you've come, you never appreciate the view.
Yeah.
And so, and I was living at mum and dad's because I had my bathroom done. So it was a bit of a trauma because I'm back at home, and plus I need a little bit of pain med for my foot when I first did it. So it's like reigniting, but the strength I had when I sat in that energy and came through it. I did face a couple of challenges, but all in all, I feel like I've just trekked through a bit of a journey. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't even about the broken toe; it was about things I had to go through,
Yeah.
and it's a blessing to face it. Like as I said, just like in my darkest hour, I've come out of this with a whole bundle of new tools.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
from so it's yeah, that's interesting. You brought that up.
Yeah.
I'm very sorry by a truck. That's intense.
I'm not, it was intense. The thing that's the hardest is Camilla was hit, very hard and it's affected her even more. But
Oh,
I really do believe, everything is perfect in its place, and like
yes, true.
it is like you said with the gratitude and looking back, like trying to step back and recognize there's a bigger mosaic here, and if we're just honed in on
True.
one little moment, sometimes you get upset that it is what is, but if you could
Yeah.
only step back, I firmly believe, and I don't say that saying I'm in that place all the time. There's obviously moments where I'm like, screw this, I can't believe it, but
Yes.
when you get to step back, that's when it's like, wow, like that was actually perfect, like
Yes. It's true. The universe is perfect in its way. We're just looking at like one linear type perspective through
yeah,
something we cannot even,
comprehend.
comprehend.
Yeah.
It's funny when you say when you like, there's these moments where I was saying in one of the lives, I'll get frustrated where I project, where
Mm,
someone's like going fast, driven past me fast, and I'll be like, why are they doing that? But it's really about me.
yeah.
Is any time I've said something projected about somebody, eventually I have to work on myself, whether it's a few days, whether it's in a couple of weeks, it's always about me. It's like I
Yes.
never have I had one of those moments where I'm like, "Urgh," or frustrated where it's been another person. It's always about me.
Yeah.
And when you can grasp that and understand, and I still sometimes don't admit it in the moment.
Oh
And
yeah.
as
Yeah.
the time goes on, I'm like, oh, I was either I have to get to bed. Sometimes it's as simple as getting to bed earlier, so I
Yeah.
get enough sleep and I'm not like fused out, get so cranky.
Yeah.
So
If only we could just click a button and be in that kind of more enlightened mood all the time and see that with complete clarity, but life pulls us back in and our mind and and other things can
and
pop
Chris,
back
we
up.
wouldn't learn the
Yeah.
lessons. We have to go through those cranky times and those hard times. So we like aha moments, and we're like, thank you, universe.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. Now, I do want to ask something from your book, to get back to that one. Is there any recipe that is just your favorite or your go-to that if someone was like, "Oh, which one should I try?"
Okay, there's popcorn chicken.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like 100% worth trying. It's fun. It's got like a sweet and sour dipping sauce.
Yeah.
That's really good. I did a seafood salad where I made it from like the king oyster mushrooms. It's like
Yeah.
calamari type, and it's been marinated. That my loaded nachos. There's
I,
so many, but let's say those ones for now.
Yeah, I seen you eating those loaded nachos. They look pretty cool. Are they
They
are they one of your
are. And just
favorites?
eat it off the tray. I love that. Like you could get it, grab a couple friends and just sit around and just eat it off, and that's really fun.
Yeah.
So
Finger food, party food, that's some of the best stuff ever
yeah,
sometimes.
because we can connect in that way. Like I'd love to go to the jungle and like crack open a durian or jackfruit with a whole lot of friends and like talk and like pick at the food and I guess
True,
I
true,
did that
true.
with Jillian in Hawaii with like juices and fruits and all sorts of things. So I take, but I mean like in the
Yeah.
jungle, like, go in with a whole group of us and like pick at the foods.
Mhm. Skye, I actually I didn't look at the time for a while. I can't believe we've been talking almost an hour. It does not feel like it's been almost an hour.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. I'm
Yeah.
very grateful for our chat.
Yeah. Yeah, no, me too, me too. Is there anything else you really want to share about your transformation or your book or some inspiration that might help someone else along their way?
The thing that always comes to me is believe in
Yeah.
you. Like if you can understand, even whether you're in your darkest time or your lightest time, if you believe in you over everything else, you will get places. Like what it's like really that forming that what raw foods does for me is it really helps me have a relationship with myself. And if you, wherever you're at on this healing journey, is you talk to you.
Yeah.
And if you find that hard, you need to take your shoes off and get outside somewhere, because nature will help you do that. And I do believe things like this bundle, like you've got to remember 32 people come together once a year, all new content,
Hmm.
their experiences, their education, their courses, their recipes. It's like having a buddy.
Yeah.
I think it really, really helps as well. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
love that. I love that. Because wherever you are, there you are and you're with yourself, right? So if you
that's
can be your own best friend,
right.
life is so much better.
That's right. And I did do some deep, I love it. I get love songs and I sing them to
Yeah.
myself. So if you can get to a level where you love yourself so much that every decision you make, like, do I want to put that in my body because I love you and I know tomorrow you won't feel so good? You go, no, I won't do that to Skye. Like, if you can love yourself in that level,
Mhm.
it's very hard to. Well, I mean, we're not all perfect, but like, you are thinking of yourself all the time because there's things you wouldn't do. Don't want a friend to feel bad, and that's
Yeah.
you're your friend.
Yeah. Isn't it so amazing that, you could ask a dozen people and they'll know what they would like to do, how they'd like to treat a friend or a loved one,
Yeah,
but there's so much harder to do it for the self, right? And it's like, what a gift to give that to yourself. And you can
yeah,
tell by the way you're shining and the way you've transformed that you've really been doing that. You've been living it and walking that and helping others. The last thing actually I want to ask you
sure.
is you've spent a lot of time on yourself and making these transformations. Have you found that sharing your story has also been another transformative part of your journey?
That's a really good question. But I'm glad you brought that up because that's been at the forefront of a lot of my life at the moment. Well, not a lot of my life, but I've spoken to mum about it, and I believe that not just have I turned something horrible into something good that helps others, but I don't know if people are aware how much me sharing has helped myself. Where you can talk constantly about my past, but I've put it in a narrative which is so positive, and it's just out there, and it's very natural. It's a huge part of my healing, and a lot of people say, "I'd love to do what you do. I'd love to be able to get to that place." If you go back just a few years, it starts with like where you're most comfortable. And for me, that was like Instagram. And I used to remember those lives with Shelley?
Hmm.
And that was just once a week. And it was a huge deal. Like one live was huge. Don't expect to get up and do all day like we're doing now.
Yeah.
But you've got to start, but start where you're comfortable because it really, I believe, like we were probably all meant to just share, and whatever evolved from that with like courses and knowledge and things is just the trade we were supposed to give off to people. I'm good at public speaking and talking and raw foods, and someone else is great at yoga, and we were supposed to exchange
Hmm.
on that level, whether it's with money or just exchange the skill. Is I truly believe it's that, and where how somebody got to yoga would more than likely be their healing journey. So if you have that calling to share, don't think you have to be perfect. Just get up there, wherever platform you're comfortable with. It might even be 10 minutes. You do a little talk or a little story tell because it can change lives and it will change your life.
1,000%. So beautifully shared. 100%. I totally agree. I mean, if we all just shared what we're rich with, everyone in the world's rich, right?
Yeah,
So,
a hundred
yeah.
percent. Like everything that people, I say recently, I feel like at the moment, people, if they just find me and don't know my story, they're probably like, oh, that girl's so
Mm.
lucky. She lives by the beach, she has the dream life. And I'm like, every day I worked away on myself. It was never the things that people probably see as like monetary or like, that are like out on Instagram. It's literally me every day getting up and doing the same routine, and you get knocked
Yeah.
back, but you got to then get back up and you get back on the horse, and
Yeah.
it'll lead to that. If you come from love, it'll lead you places you never imagined.
Love it. I love it. You're a powerful creator, Skye, and thank you for creating this amazing book and for being a part of the bundle and for opening other people's eyes and hearts to the creator within as well. It's a beautiful gift, and I just want to thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure, and I can't wait to interview you later in the week.
Excited for it as well. Excited for it as well. And I hope you have an awesome day ahead. And everyone else, too, for joining us. I hope you had an amazing time with us and that it struck a chord and awakens the creator within for you as well. So thank you again so much, guys.
Thank you. Bye,
Oh,
guys.
one last thing. Where else can we find you? I'll just make sure that
Oh,
share that.
Oh, you can find me everywhere these days.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
find me. You can find me YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. I have a website. I'm on YouTube a lot these days, doing like constant lives. I have to get you back. Oh well, we're doing this now. I'll put this up.
Yeah.
So yeah, everywhere, every platform, I'm there. But you can just raw Skye ROARSKYE. You can Google it, and whatever your choice of platform, I'm probably there.
I love it. I feel the roar, and I'm all about the
Yeah,
roar too. So it's
you're a roarer
beautiful.
too.
Exactly. That's it. The roar of life. It brings so much. It's so good. It's so good.
It is. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have an awesome day, and thanks again, everyone. As always, wishing you much peace, love, and seasonal fruit. See you guys.
Bye.